So listen, this is a huge warning to anyone that has a business or that's doing a side hustle right now, because there is a new IRS rule that just went into effect, and it will affect over 32 million businesses in the United States. But the thing is, not many business owners know about this. Not many people know about it in general. Someone recently reached out to me asking me to do a video on this topic, and so today I am going to explain everything that you need to know and do ASAP, because the deadline is approaching for this really soon. And if you end up missing that deadline, you could end up owing the government thousands of dollars or worse. So make sure you watch this entire video until the end, because you do not want to miss any of this info. Hello, bonjour, hola, aloha, konnichiwa, wagwan, shalom, assalamu alaikum, jambo, ciao, namaste. I am back with the news that you definitely can use today, because this new IRS rule just went into effect on January 1st, and I literally asked 10 people if they heard anything about this, and they said they had no idea. And I know many of you that are watching me right now probably have no idea about this either, but there are huge penalties and fines if you do not follow this rule. So today we're about to get into this, and I'm going to walk you through step by step what you need to do ASAP. But before we get to that part, let me actually explain what's going on. So there is something called a Corporate Transparency Act, and this was a law that was passed in 2021. But the particular part that I'm about to tell you about didn't go into effect from this act until January 1st of 2024. But the whole point of this act was basically to try to decrease financial crimes such as money laundering, making it harder for people to hide money or to benefit from illegal gains from companies like shell companies or other company structures. So this law now requires businesses in the United States to report individuals who own or control the business, and they are to report this through a new form called the BOI, which is a beneficial ownership report. And this report is to be submitted to a specific part of the United States Treasury Department called the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, also known as FinCEN. And don't worry, I will be showing you where to go to get this form and how to actually fill it out. But just to give you an idea of the amount of people that have no idea about this new rule and this requirement, at the time of this video, only about 1 million businesses have submitted this report. However, the IRS is expecting over 32 million businesses to actually submit this. So we are way behind, y'all. And again, I'm trying to stop you from getting in trouble or having to pay the government tons of money for not filling out this form. So let's talk about the businesses or the people with side hustles that actually need to fill out this form. And the government actually considers two types of companies that have to submit this report. The first is going to be what they call domestic reporting companies. So if you have a business or if you are doing a side hustle and you actually created an LLC or you got your S Corp and you created that through a Secretary of State, then this is something you have to fill out. And if you have a sole proprietorship, you do not have to fill out this form unless it was created through a Secretary of State. Now, the next type of company that needs to fill out this report is going to be what is called foreign reporting companies. And these can be LLCs or corporations that were formed in an entirely different country. However, if you register to do business in the United States with a Secretary of State, you are required to also submit this report. Now, there are some exemptions to which businesses do not have to file this report. There's actually 23 of them, but those corporations are more so for your larger companies that has 20 or more full-time employees and that has had over $5 million in gross receipts in a year. Some other exemptions are going to be your nonprofits, banks, credit unions, insurance companies, government authorities, and inactive entities. And let me tell you something, if you have an LLC and you're like, well, I'm not doing nothing with it, I just registered the LLC and it's just sitting there, let me let you know, the only way that you are exempt from actually filling out this form is if that LLC was created before January 1st of 2020. And you also have to have not received more than $1,000 in the last 12 months. And don't worry, I am going to leave a link down below to all of the exemptions for filling out this report, and it'll have more details about who actually fall under those exemptions. But unless you are exempt, which most people are not going to be exempt, then you need to fill out this form, and the sooner the better, because you don't want to put this off and then you forget, and guess what, you get a large bill from the government saying you owe $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So the next thing we need to go over is who even qualifies as a beneficial owner. Like, who actually needs to be written on these reports that we are submitting. A beneficial owner is an individual that directly or indirectly exercises substantial control over a reporting company, and that can be someone who holds a senior office like a president, chief financial officer, general counsel, the CEO or the COO. All of that falls under that. Or another working definition of that beneficial owner is someone who controls or owns at least 25% of the company. So if it's you and another partner, y'all 50-50, both of you have to go on this report. If it's you and 3 other people, that's 4 total, and y'all equally own 25% of this, then you all have to be reported on this form. So again, that's anybody who has 25% or more ownership. If it's less than that, you don't have to worry about it. So now we need to know what those deadlines are for us to fill out these reports. And if you created your business before January 1st of 2024, then you have until January 1st of 2025 to submit this report. So that's all corporations, all LLCs, all businesses that's not exempt, that was created before January 1st of 2024. They're pretty much giving you a year to complete this form. Now, if you are a new business that was created after January 1st of 2024, if you have yet to create your business and you are getting ready to create it, then the rules are a little different for you. You have 90 days after you receive that notice of your registration or the creation of your company to submit this report. If you do not meet these deadlines, that's when those fines and penalties are going to take effect. And you probably like, Monique, you keep on throwing out fines and penalties. Can you tell me what those are? I surely can. So according to FinCEN, that's the government site that you have to submit this report to, what they say is a person who willfully violates the BOI reporting requirements may be subject to civil penalties of up to $500. Listen closely, for each day that the violation continues. So every day you are in violation of not submitting this report after that deadline, you can receive a penalty up to $500. So 60 days of not filing this report means a $30,000 fine. So that's why you hear me keep stressing this, because these fines are big, and there's a lot of companies out there that need to submit this. Now, that's not the only penalty that's involved with this. It also says, in addition to that, this person may also be subject to criminal penalties up to 2 years in jail, and they will also be fined up to $10,000. So that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of time in jail. So this is definitely something we don't want to play with. And let me tell you one thing, Uncle Sam takes enough of our money. We don't want to donate anymore. So now I am going to walk you through exactly how I filled my form out, because I know it can get a little confusing for some people. And so I did put a link down in the description to where you can access this form. So this right here is the website that you are going to come to when you click on that link in the description, and you can actually fill out this form online. You're able to e-file. So I'm going to select file a report using the BOI e-filing system, and then you'll find this page right here. And the next thing we are going to want to do is select that we need to file a BOIR, which is that beneficial ownership information report. So I'm going to click on there, and it shows you that you have 2 different ways that you can file. You can actually download the PDF, you can fill it in, and then you can come back here and submit it. But in order for you to download this PDF, you do need to have Adobe 8 or higher. But there's also an easier way to just do it online, and that's the way that I went about doing it. So I selected that, and it's going to give you this warning just letting you know that you are entering into a government information system. So I just selected agree. Now, the first thing you are going to have to do, they're going to say this is a beneficial ownership information report. They're going to ask you, what type of filing are you doing? And for most of us, this is going to be in the initial report. This is the first time we're filing this. And so I selected that. The date is already pre-filled. Don't worry about that. Then you just hit next. The next thing that you can do is you can request to receive a FinCEN ID, and that's basically just an identifying number that you can use instead of having to put in like your name, date of birth, all of that type of information. They're able to pull that up if you pre-fill out a FinCEN ID, or you can request one, and going forward you should be able to then use that without having to put in all of that personal information. You'll avoid using your address, your jurisdiction, and image, all of those things. So I just requested one because I didn't pre-fill out the form to get a FinCEN ID. But the next part of this is just to put in your reporting company legal name. So whatever your company is registered as is the full legal name that's going to be on those articles of incorporation. This is what you are going to place here. And also, if you have any kind of trade names, if you have any kind of doing business as names, you're going to put those alternate names down here, and you don't have to put DBA after it. You just go ahead on and type whatever the trade name is. Once you do that, they're going to come down here and ask you, what is your tax identification type? So you'll just select that and you'll type in that tax number here. The next thing that you're going to have to do is tell what your country of formation is. That's simple. You're going to give your business address, whatever address you use for that business, and then you'll just hit next. Now for this part right here, they're going to ask if you're an existing reporting company, and that's going to be any company that is in existence before January 1st of 2024. So if that is you, you will choose this, and then you'll select yes, and then part 2 you will not have to complete. So you can skip this entire part and go to the next section. Now if you are a new company, and when I say new company, I'm talking about a company that was established after January 1st, 2024, you will not select this part. You will have to add all of this information about the company applicant, which is basically whoever applied or registered for that company on that state secretary site. But moving on to the next part of this application, they are going to ask you if this person who owns a business is less than 18. Then of course a parent or guardian is going to be needed there. And again, this is where you can insert your FinCEN ID, which is something again you can apply for before you fill this out, so that you don't have to put in a lot of this information. However, if you don't already have one, then you'll go ahead on, and this is where you're going to start to put those beneficial owners, those people who are in substantial control of their company, those people who own over 25% of their company. So they just want to know who, they want to know your address, and then you are going to have to submit some identifying documents, and those documents can either be a state, local, or tribe issued ID, a U.S. passport, or a foreign passport. And then you're going to have to include that number of your ID or your passport, as well as the country that you received this in. And then you're going to have to actually upload a copy of whichever document you use right here. And then if you have more than one person to add, of course, you're going to come back up here and click on add beneficial owner until you're finished adding all the people that you need to. But each person is going to have to submit their documents. So as you're filling out this form, make sure you have all of that information ready. And then the last thing you'll have to do is you'll have to add your email, your name. You're pretty much signing this application, certifying that you are who you are and the information is correct. And then you'll just hit submit, and it's as simple as that. Now I am not any kind of tax expert or any kind of government official, anything like that. I just wanted to pretty much go through this to try to help you out as much as possible. Of course, you always want to reach out to an expert for help with this if you get stuck. Other than that, I wanted to again bring this to you because these fines are really high, and I don't want you to end up getting in trouble. More than paying money, I don't want you to go to jail. So please share this video with others, because again, like I said, there's over 31 million people that have yet to fill this out and probably have no idea that they need to. Other than that, like this video because that helps me out and it helps me to get this word out to more people. But I thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Peace.